Hello there, Andrew Bethel with the Bethel Law Corporation, tackling another frequently asked question in our office. And that is whether or not estate planning is only a tool for the wealthy. Simply put, no. Estate planning is something that everyone can utilize and something that actually everyone can benefit from. Now, we get this question a lot, whether it be from our clients or out in popular media. And because of that fact, we think it's led to a lot of distortion in the estate planning world as to just what estate planning even is to begin with. Now, one note on something I will touch on a little bit later in the video is if you do not do anything to plan your estate, there are outcomes that will be dictated to your family as to what will happen to your estate. In our office, we call that an estate plan by default. But again, I'll cover that a little bit later in the video here. So firstly, I mentioned that there is some distortion as to what estate planning is, and which has often, as we found, led to the misperception that estate planning is only for the wealthy. Now, firstly, I would kind of attribute that to popular media. Now, we've all seen movies or TV shows where they have that reading of the will scene. While it is a great framing device for generating some family drama and a narrative, it's not actually how things play out in the real world. On top of that, a lot of people's only introduction to trusts is when they hear about trust-busting laws to tackle big monopolies or spoiled trust fund babies spending mom and dad's money and not doing anything for themselves. All that kind of does create a distortion as to what estate planning entails, which is the other aspect that we've found a lot of people just don't quite understand what is included in estate planning. Now, estate planning is actually a very broad term. It covers a very large amount of different things one can do when managing their estate. So put it simply, estate planning is managing your estate. You're directing where your assets are to go and how your assets are to be managed during your lifetime and extending onwards even after your death. Now, this can touch on a lot of different things that we might do without even thinking about it, but those things are considered estate planning. So for example, if you have an IRA or a 401k through your employer, you're growing your assets, you're growing your estate, and you'll set beneficiaries on that. Well, that action of setting those beneficiaries means you're exercising some discretion or control over your estate, i.e. your estate planning. In addition to that, setting things up like life insurance plans or even trust funds in order to pay for children's education or someone's well-being, all of that is also estate planning. On top of that, we can elect individuals to step in and manage either our finances or our medical decisions if we're unable to, whether we be incompetent or what have you, under powers of attorney. That is also estate planning. So estate planning can be a very broad topic, and we can accidentally do some estate planning without even realizing it. Now with that, estate planning in our office, we often recommend that the linchpin or the center point of a complete estate plan be what's called the revocable living trust. Now, the revocable living trust is actually a very powerful document. It provides your family with a lot of flexibility and provides you with a lot of powerful tools in order to manage your estate during your lifetime and also direct the distribution of your assets after you pass away. So with a revocable living trust, it allows you during lifetime to work on growing your estate, to let your revocable living trust manage the framework or the structure of your estate and lets you just concentrate on building wealth and assets. Now, something I mentioned before or earlier in the video is that if you have nothing in writing, then probate code, specifically the California probate code, is going to set rigid guidelines for your family as to what is to happen to your estate, essentially what everyone is going to get and how much they're going to get. Now, under the California probate code, that's essentially set in stone. The code says this person gets this person gets this, and there's no room for flexibility. Additionally, if you're in that situation or if your family's in that situation, they're now dealing with probate and dealing with probate court in order to pass on your estate to the next generation. Probate court is very expensive, it's very time consuming, it does not have any flexibility, and it's all a public procedure. We contrast that with a revocable living trust. You get to set your distribution, you get to keep it privately done in your family. On top of that, you provide your family with a lot of flexibility as to how to do your distributions. And all this can be done for a fraction of the cost that your family is stuck with if your estate has to go through probate. With all that being said, to bring it back to the initial question at hand as to whether or not estate planning is something only for the wealthy, it's not. And that's because our estates, for the overwhelming majority of us, will be subject to probate, regardless of the size of our estate, large and small alike. And probate, as I mentioned, is rigid, it's timely, it's expensive, and does not provide any flexibility for your family and heirs, and essentially doesn't allow you to exercise much authority or discretion over your estate. And again, we contrast that with the revocable living trust and having that as the center point of your estate plan, around which everything you else do revolves, whether it be your IRA, your 401k, your life insurance policies, or any other assets you accumulate during your lifetime. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the little bell to stay up to date. Otherwise, we'll see you again soon.